Okay, good morning. I'm wearing these shades because my eyes is running cold. But anyway, when a 66-year-old senator who is Elijah Cummings stated publicly that he had been stopped by the police a million times and asked the FBI director to investigate, I'm thinking, okay, it's time to do some research here. Yesterday I went to a BLM meeting, which is a Black Lives Matter meeting, which was a protest. About 800 to 1,000 people showed. I wanted to go see for myself and see what kind of people were involved, because the news refers to them as thugs. Okay? Well, what I saw was people of all color and ages, and with their doggies, people in wheelchairs, people with their walkers. The energy of the group was compelling and dynamic. Now, there are those who didn't understand the closet process. Well, history has documented in current news across the nation that any gathering of a people to protest is considered a potential threat. This was proven wrong yesterday in Inglewood, California. The police didn't patrol us or address us. It could have also been considered that they had to protect themselves and not be subjected to the horrors of Dallas. So we policed ourselves. No casualties. Everybody made sure everybody got back safe to their car. Read your history to understand why the Underground Railroad was quiet. The last protest that I participated in was to make Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday a legal holiday and him to be recognized. Today it is. It took a lot of marches, protests, and even boycotts from everybody to enforce it. Now let's go down history a little bit. The Fugitive Slave Act of 1793 was created respecting fugitives from justice and persons escaping from the service of their masters. The 1850 Fugitive Slave Act required government officials to assist slave catchers in capturing fugitives within the state. Duh. Confiscation Act of 1861 permitted the court proceedings for confiscation of any of property being used to support the Confederate groups, including the slaves. Duh, so maybe that's why the Confederates got a long history of anger. The 1865 13th Amendment abolishes slavery. It abolishes slavery. But all the slaves were black. So now you're not a slave, but you're still black. And how do you transform from that? The Civil Rights Act of 1866 was to protect all persons in the United States in their civil rights and liberties and furnish them the means of vindication if this was not applied for them. It was mainly intended to protect the civil rights of persons of African descent born in Africa or brought to America from Africa. Okay, now let's move to the 20th century laws. The Civil Rights Act of 1864 outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. From 1793 to 1964, there was bloodshed of people of color who were trying to adapt to this new land and the new laws that were enforced for them or applied for them. And still, there were atrocities inflicted upon them by any individual or individuals just because they didn't have any respect for the laws, and because these people were black. They were no longer a slave, but they were still black. And just look how long it took for blacks to be considered from being a property to be even acknowledged as a human being. Our ethnicity identifier has been changed from colored to black to Negro to Afro-American to black. They can't even, just one. The Patriot Act, effective October 26, 2001, signed by George Bush, provided three key provisions: roving wiretaps, searches of business records, and conducting surveillance of lone wolves, meaning individuals suspected of terrorist-related activities not linked to a terrorist group, which was applied to gangs back then, and basically anybody. Currently, there's a terror group petition which is stating in regards that on the grounds of principle, integrity, morality, and safety, attempting to classify the Black Lives Matter group as such a threat. Whereas what Black Lives Matter is protesting, that I heard last night, that the principle of their protest is racial profiling by our peace officers and not having any integrity of the laws of the USA and no morality of being able to be fair when interacting of people with color, causing wrong decisions and subjecting the individual or individuals in the community to detrimental harm and demoralizing them, instead of realizing once you have obtained someone in your custody or approached them that you are to assure their safety, and that is not being done. So all of the laws that are mentioned, but what law does it say that a police cannot shoot a suspect instead of handcuffing him? What fraction is imposed to legally stop this person and subject him to harm by their own hands? What law states that if while acting as a civil servant, if you do not do your job with principle, integrity, morality, and assure public safety to all, you will be held accountable? Please send it to me. I don't think I could handle being a job that exposes me or endorses me to kill anyone in a blink, just because I knew I could. I know they didn't break the law or commit a public safety, and I'm rolling up on them, for whatever reason. I'm just scared. I think the police are scared. I think the public is scared that everybody's walking around in here in fear. I feel the police don't have nobody, feel nobody is speaking to him. The people that's supposed to speak for them is really us, but we can't get to them because of all of this rash media and all this other foolishness to communicate to find out what the real problem is, to find out what is the real problem. Okay? So to me, it all seems very personal. Everything is personal. There's no specific laws guiding us at this point. Well, it is, but we can't get to the basis of what the real problem is. All right? So in reality, what the Black Lives Matter movement was saying was that it's the same thing what this petition is saying. Okay? There has to be a very basic and in-depth understanding of what law is needed to protect all and assure public safety. We need wisdom to define this law, not hate and anger and violence. Okay? Years ago, my uncle, who was a constable, called me and wanted me to read up on this constable from Texas, Daryl Lunsford, who was essential in putting the dash cam in police cruisers. It showed his assailants. He was in 1991 they killed him, but it saved other officers' lives. This dash cam. This Daryl Lunsford, who is considered a hero, he had a war on drugs. He had principles. He had integrity. He had morality, which enabled him to enforce public safety. You have to ask yourself, what is your war on? Each individual, everybody, what is your war on? Is it on public safety? You want to assure that? Or is it just a virtual reality thing that you're just falling through life with and you don't even understand what your principles and morals are? No matter what job you hold, no matter what your position in life is, regardless, it doesn't matter. Everybody is part of assuring public safety with principle, integrity, and morality. It's like everybody is saying the same thing, but no one is listening to each other. No one. Everybody's just being mean to each other. You have to stop and listen and understand how we can reach common ground and balance to diffuse all of this. And it is going to take time. We need to listen and read up and understand what law needs to be upgraded or changed across the states that we can live in unity.